Hi, my name's Shannon Barlow and I'm going to be speaking to you about a magazine called Q, and it has Lady Gaga on the double page spread. I hope you enjoy. Now, this will firstly attract Lady Gaga fans due to the fact she is in a double page spread and is obviously the title. She's actually the article title itself. However, it will also attract people that like pop music or general music, because Lady Gaga's genre of music is pop and R&B sometimes, so it will attract some of those audience members, but mostly, as I said, the Lady Gaga fans. However, it will also attract people that find it inspirational. So for example, I have basically grown up where I've known Lady Gaga music, and I've known Lady Gaga as a really outgoing, really wacky pop star that is quite inspirational. It's one of these artists that you think, you know what, she does what the hell she wants. She is creative, she is different, and she enjoys it. She doesn't have a limitation, and that is quite inspirational in itself. She's kind of teaching her fans and people that look up to her that you can do what you want. You just have to have fun if you're doing it. So her overall, she's quite an inspirational person in that concept, so it will attract people that look up to her in a sense. However, this has a more grown-up approach, you could say, due to the black and white, the way it's set out. There's loads of informative writing, so on a whole page from the double page spread, you have literally columns of writing, so it's very factual and very informal. So this, once again, might unattract audience members such as adolescents, because we are lazy and we don't look at a sheet of paper and have loads of writing and think, oh, we really want to read that. We'd rather read the less factual information that doesn't take long. So you could say the vast amount of information takes the effect away from the double page spread and mainly attracts adults. However, Lady Gaga is quite a young model, and the type of Lexis used, which I will talk about more in the text, such as, and let's see if I have a quotation, she swears a lot, she uses slang. So overall, like I said, I've mentioned in the text, but overall, that kind of Lexis used will attract audience such as adolescents and early adulthood, because that's our language. They are trying, once again, like Rolling Stones, to compare and use our Lexis. They're trying to use our idiolect to attract us more, to make us feel more comfortable when we're reading the piece. It's quite a colloquial style. I can't really pronounce that word, but it's using that kind of format, you could say. So overall, I believe that the main audience will be young audience members due to the language, but mostly Lady Gaga fans. Okay, so now for the main image. The main image is quite a provocative and sexual approach, you could say. The reason for this is because she has a very revealing outfit on that are just chains, and she's got her hands over her boobs. Now, also she has a mouth open, which, as we've discussed in formatting 2, kind of gives a sexual approach, because it kind of shows attitude. When someone shows their teeth, it's provocative at the same time, but it really shows that they have deviance and mischief, and it's not a smile that is very gracious and happy. It's quite a divine and attracting look. And also her eye contact. Now, her eye contact is directly looking at you. What this does is it draws the reader in, it interacts them, and makes it a bit more personal, because you feel interacted with the celebrity. You feel like they are wanting you to read it. Their celebrity is looking straight at you. So this is a real big positive in the aspect of doing a double page spread, because it attracts you more, intrigues you, indulges you, and overall, I can say all these different words, but when eye contact is made, it makes you to want to read the text. It really complements the whole double page spreads, and it's a really good advertisement to make. Also, the provocative and sexual pose she is in will attract male audience members, which is which is quite good for the magazine because she's young. She is quite a pretty and beautiful girl, and at the end of the day, her being in a sexual position really does attract those certain audience members. Secondly, the image is so enlarged. Sometimes you have an image, as in my formatting 1, in the middle of the page. Sometimes you have, like in my formatting 2 research, on the right hand side and with a little section, and on this time it's on the left hand side, filling up a whole page spread, you could say. Now what this is the main attraction, next to the drop cap, which is the massive L in the middle, which really attracts attention to the audio, to the text, sorry, but we'll go on about that when we're talking about drop caps and the text once again. The main image, as I have said, is glaring at you, and it has this kind of crazy effect because all her hair's messed up, her crazy outfit, which I've said in the audience, it represents her as a singer. She's crazy, she's mad, she's one of the wackiest celebrity musicians I have ever known personally, but that is her style, that is her genre of music. She's just wacky, so the picture really complements her as an artist, and that's what also attracts people, that she's not scared to do whatever she wants. And as I've said, she takes up the whole page, it's the main attraction. The title is iconic to the main image, because sometimes you can get a title saying, I've seen a title for example called Wild Child, and it has I can't remember the celebrity's name, but it has this celebrity's name that isn't wild at all. She's quite a very nice, pleasant singer who was young, but it wasn't really a link. I thought I didn't really know who the celebrity was, so the fact that the title's called Lady Gaga and in the main image they have Lady Gaga, it's very iconic, and it makes that quite good connection and contrast between the two. And finally, as I've said in my formatting 2 research, it has black and white as the image. Now black and white really is quite a good skin texture, it really complements skin, really enhances eyes, so them looking forward is really quite intriguing more because of the black and white enhancing it more, and it just makes her skin so perfect, which will also attract those that are looking up to her for inspiration and want to be like her. So overall, the main image is very enlarged, takes up most of the page, it's the main attraction as well as the drop cap, and it doesn't take the effect away from the magazine at all because it's so separated, because there's a border between them. So overall, the way they have structured and put Lady Gaga in this double page spread, I feel is very positive, and I would like to use this during my double page spread. Okay, so the text is very indulging, it's very, what can I say, it's very compact and factual, very contrast well together, and it's very informative due to the many columns that they have and the amount of complex and compound sentences that they have used during the text. In a sense, you could say it's kind of like a biography. It's not fully, but this magazine is representing her life, what age she got into music, what she was like when she was a child, as it does mention that when she was a child she thought she was quite a freak, so it kind of goes through the stages of her life until she become a singer. So in that aspect it is quite a biography, which makes it more personal, makes it attract the audience more because it's personal, it's to do with her life, and you can trust it more, rely on this text more. So the fact that they've used quite emotional, you could say, writing is quite a positive aspect. She's used some of the stuff that she probably doesn't want to tell anyone about, what her peers used to think of her, what she wanted to be, because I know at one point she said that she wanted to be a man. And it makes it more inspirational because she's telling a story. She's not afraid to say she went through some bad lifestyle choices, she went through some bad stages, but she got over it and she overcome it and has become a star. So overall, the text for them writing about her actual life is very inspirational and a very positive aspect when writing a double page spread, because it attracts the audience more because it gives this emotional aspect to it. They've kept with the colour scheme, so the black and white picture, they have a white background and a black text to enhance it over the white background and just makes it stand out that little bit more. And I believe that the audience is younger, it's for adolescence, it's for younger adulthood, because as I've said in my audience, the lexis that they have used is very slangish and very up to date. It's our idiolect and how we speak socially, so it's also our sociolect as well. For example, one of the quotations she used is, and I'm not going to really repeat the word that I'm saying, is, "I'd be a real effing story right." Now, that language is very relaxed. It kind of links in with that colloquial style. I'm sorry, I cannot repeat that word. I can't say it properly. But that shows so much informality, and that's what we want in a magazine. It kind of links to what we are looking for when we look in a magazine, because it's so relaxed. It's so up to date with our kind of lexis and our idiolect that it's just so comparison, it's so linked in with its audience member that is actually using their language, which is a real positive effect, because it just makes us feel that we can read it without loads of information. It's going to be more creative, it's going to be more fun to read. So that kind of language will put off certain readers, such as middle adulthood and maybe older peers. However, it will attract a younger audience member, which is your main audience when you are producing a music magazine. She's also used, I have another quotation that she's used, which is very rude language in a form of a swear word. It's informal and is a bit irrelevant, there's no need to put these words in. She's also put, "I want a dick strapped to my vagina." Now, like I said before, no really relevance. She could have put it in a more formal way when speaking to Q. And as I've said before, the swear words, there was no relevance to it. You didn't need to mention it. It could put some people off because they're thinking, why do we want to follow someone and read this magazine where she's put in an inappropriate tone to her voice? Why do we want our children looking up to her when she's going to speak in that manner? It's impolite, it's rude, it's not respective, and it sounds disgusting coming from a female. However, once again, that's quite a humorous quotation because of the rumours that went around about her. Now, I remember this time where everyone was saying that she's a man due to she had a bulge during one of her performances. And that kind of, it's weird, but it kind of makes a humorous quotation because you don't know whether she's being serious or not. And she did say in one of her texts that she wanted to be a guy called "I want to be Boy George." Now, to me, that sounds like she's telling someone that she wants to be a boy. So that iconic link between her stating that "I want a dick strapped to my vagina," that she wants to be a guy, and what she said when she was younger might indicate to the audience that she actually wants to be a dude. I'm not really sure, but once again, the informality of it really links to its audience, and the fact that she is being so expressive and she's not caring what she's saying is once again so personal. It's so, you trust it more, you find it more interesting to read because it's the truth and they haven't held back on the language that they have used. So I find this actually positive, the way they have really presented the text and the way they have just expressed what she is saying. So that's a main attraction. But overall, they've used a serif font and it's filled with complex sentences, compound, and they've used inappropriate toning and text, you could say, during this piece that makes it more personal, more intriguing and more indulging to read. So it's more entertaining based more than to inform. Okay, so for the drop cap, they have used two. So the first one, so I have it written down. The first one is Sint with a massive capital S that is covering 5 lines. The second drop cap, which is very unusual to have 2 drop caps, but in this text they have to separate the sentences, to separate the paragraphs, sorry, so it kind of gives that structure as well. So that's quite interesting to actually see, because you don't normally see this. And it's the second word, it, with a capital I obviously, also covering 5 lines. So they cover the same amount of lines, which means they attract, and not some information is more important than the other. But it's, like I said, using 2 is very unique. It's not really a common aspect that you see. You normally see 1, and the way they're structured is different as well. As I said before in my last comments, the drop cap always attracts attention. It's more indulgent. It creates more of an entertaining and more indulging aspect when reading the text. It just makes that bit more creativity to it. And it really enhances the first word as well, which is always good because it attracts you to that text. However, you always find this at the beginning of the sentence. So a sentence opener such as I and did, and there's so many words that they can use, such as it could state Lady Gaga with a massive L and the front. But it's always in the first paragraph. However, this first paragraph doesn't have a drop cap. It just starts off normally. I find that a negative, because I find if you're going to do a drop cap for every piece, I think you should do it for the first paragraph as well, because if I look at the text, I am straight away attracted to the S. So I'm not even interested in the top part, which is introducing me to the next 2 paragraphs. So I feel that they needed to, for this, the genre they needed to for this text, is put a drop cap right at the beginning in massive black, covering 5 lines, and I just felt that would have made that piece a bit more effective. However, you could find that the drop cap in the background, as you can tell during this magazine piece, there is a massive background with an L on it, so that kind of is relevant to the first line. The first line opening the whole text is Lady Gaga. So they have put the L in that piece, so it shows that it isn't a drop cap. But you could say in a sense it is, because it represents Lady Gaga as a whole. Lady Gaga, beginning with an L, obviously, they do this in all Q's magazines. If you have Rihanna, it will start with an R. If you have Cheryl Cole, it will start with a C. If you have there's just so many artists I can't even think of one. Billy Joe, for example, it will start with a B. So they've used this to attract attention. They used this massive drop cap stated in red and bold to attract more attention. It really enhances the text more. However, I feel it takes the effect away. It doesn't go with the house style as well. The house style is black and white, which kind of keeps a formality and a grown-up aspect to it. I know that they've used a drop cap in the house style of the actual Q letter, of the Q colours, sorry, as in the front cover you have a massive Q that's stated in red and with a white box around it. But I don't feel it works. I've never seen a magazine that has the drop cap behind the text, and it might enhance the text that bit more to make you want to read it, but in a sense it distracts you from the text because you're so indulged by the L, and it just distracts me from the sentence structures. So I feel that's a negative, and I would definitely not include that in my magazine because it just takes the effect away. You find the title is once again going against the normalities of a magazine. A title is normally structured above all of the text is more enlarged, except this one's going out the boundaries a bit. So it's a bit weird the way they structure it. Normally it's presented on the left hand side, really bold and serif font, overlapping some of the image, over some of the text. But in this one they've really put it out the way so it doesn't distract you from the text itself, because I think the text has enough distraction itself due to the massive L in the image. However, the text is Lady Gaga. That is the article title presented in the right hand corner. Now, once again linking in with the image and Lady Gaga herself, the rumours about her being a man, they have presented Lady in a italics, so that's more got a feminine approach to it. You could say this is because they're trying to really enhance the audience that she is a lady, she's a girl, she's not a man. She is called Lady Gaga, she is a woman herself. So you could say that kind of enhances that, sorry, that enhances that just a little bit more. I'm really sorry. So you could say that enhances it just that little bit more. However, once again, maybe that could just be because they're trying to allow Gaga to stand up, because that is her second name, Gaga, Lady Gaga. They've presented Gaga in capital letters. So once again, that kind of brings that sense of it emphasizing. It really intrigues the audience. It grabs their attention more than Lady. But I believe they put Lady in a italic font to kind of attract more attention and prove the fact that she is a female by putting it in the feminine font, and putting Gaga in capital letters just to enhance her name a bit more. What else? Oh, and this is an actual fact. Lady Gaga is a stage name. I honestly didn't really know what I found out today actually that Lady Gaga, I knew her name wasn't Lady, but I didn't know her second name wasn't Gaga, if that makes sense. Anyway, I didn't know that was a stage name, so your audience could also look at that and think, oh, it's fake, she's fake, she can't use her real name. But you have to kind of understand, because I have her name written down here and I struggle pronouncing it, but it's Stefani Joanni Angelina Geminotta. She's from the United States. It's a bit weird. It's not a weird name, but it's a bit long, and you can't really have a star name like that because that's a bit complicated. It has to be short and sweet, and Lady Gaga is memorable. I just thought I'd let you guys know a bit of a fact. But they've just presented it. They've presented it in a larger font, which I feel is successful. It's very clear to the reader to the audience that it's the title. It's separate from the information. However, I believe that the drop cap is actually in a bigger font than the article title, which I feel is a negative. The title should be one of the largest writing there is there. And I feel that, I know they're trying to get it out the way so it doesn't distract you, but that will be more attractive if it was there. You would attract more attention, add a bit more of effect, and make the other half of the double page spread a bit more interesting, because it has this aspect to it that isn't just all writing. So I feel if I was redoing this double page spread, I would put the Lady Gaga bang spat in the middle, right at the top, in massive font, so it really attracts the audience more, instead of to the right hand side where it's not really seen. But that's just me. And overall it's presented clearly. It's demonstrated to the audience that it's the title, even though it's not underlined or presented in bold, presented in bold writing. And overall it's effective and it's out the way, so it enhances the text that bit more. So that is a positive to the article title itself. Finally, we have the branding. Now, at first I thought that the L was the branding, because I didn't really know what it stood for until I saw other Q magazines, and I saw actually Labyrinth is one of the stars and it has a massive L behind him, and I've seen other stars, celebrity musicians, and they've just got their letter behind them at the beginning of their name. So that kind of made me realise that it wasn't the branding, because I was about to say that's a really big branding. That's like what Vibe does in their content pages. However, when I looked a bit more, I managed to see this small box presented in a red background with white text, and it had a Q. So that is showing to me that this is a Q double page spread. They have tried to keep it out the way so it doesn't distract any of the audience member, but at the end of the day done what Rolling Stone has done and kept their branding name next to the page number. So the page number is number 47. Next to number 47 they have put the Q's logo, not that as that's the name, and they've kept the house star, which they have linked in with the massive L in the massive L in the background. So they've kept it out of the way so it doesn't distract and take effect away from the main image, from the text, which is very effective. And when you look at what page number it is, it's there. It's they're really representing their magazine in a positive aspect. And at the end of the day, it's quite nice that they've kept it out the way. Maybe they could have put it behind Lady Gaga's image, or maybe that just bit bigger, because honestly, if I wasn't looking at the bottom of the screen, I wouldn't notice it. And I feel branding is quite an important aspect, because you want to present your magazine, you want people to know that this is your page. And especially if the double page spread is from the internet. If I didn't see that, I hardly come across it. I came across it at the last minute when I was annotating the double page spread, and that was really hard for me to spot. So at the end of the day, I feel that they need to make it that bit bigger, so it's not big enough that it distracts, but it's big enough to be seen, to be represented effectively. But at the end of the day, they have shown to the audience that Q is their branding. They don't need any other branding to represent their magazine, so that's quite positive, because it shows that they're popular in themselves, that they don't need other companies to back them up. And I feel that they have kept it out the way, so the other techniques during these double page spreads can be more enhanced, so I feel that's very positive.